All right, I want to introduce you guys to my newest car. This is a 1914 Princess, and this is such an incredibly rare car. From the research that I've done, I can only find two others that exist. One's in the Peterson Museum in LA, and it's been a modified one, and the other one's in private hands, I believe here in Michigan, and it was at the Concours Elegance once, so there's just one picture of it that I saw, but as far as I know, this may be the third one. I talked to somebody else and they said there might be 5 left in the world. But what this is it's called a cycle car, and it's at the time when they were trying to build smaller cars, and it was like more attractive to people because they were more fuel economy, or you got a little more fuel economy out of them. I think they're a little sportier. So basically, this is like a little sports car from 1914, and it couldn't compete with Henry Ford's Model T because Henry Ford's Model T went into production in 1912, and the car was being sold at the same price, and people just rather have a Model T than a 1914 Princess. So the car was only manufactured for 1 year, and it's kind of funny, you look it up, this company is really just a footnote in the automotive history of Detroit because there were so many of these small companies, and it makes you wonder how many of these small companies made vehicles, and there's nothing physically left of their company other than maybe some paper records. So it's really an honor to have this car and be able to work on this car because it is a piece of American history, and I'm going to be the one that gets to preserve that. And it's just an honor. I just love it, and I know that one day down the line this car will probably be in a museum, and when I go to search it on the internet, it will always come up. So it's not common like that 29 Durant or something where I type it in and it's not going to be the car that I worked on. I will type in 1914 Princess, and the images of this are going to be what comes up for the rest of my life. So it's just a great car. Let's go around. It's really simple. It's almost built like a carriage. We've got a little trunk here. The entire car, especially these older cars, they're constructed on wooden. The body's actually made out of wood, so you can see like all these little pieces of wood in here. It's amazing that this car is still intact after 106 years of sitting around, or wherever it was for the last 106 years, but it's probably been sitting for the better half of 70 years. And it still looks amazing. A lot of the woodwork is there. It's not rotted out. Unfortunately, there is some stuff that I'm gonna have to, overcome some hurdles, like the wooden wheels here. They've seen better days. Luckily, I could try to make the wooden wheels. Either I'll steam bent. I'm sure that it takes, practice to get the spokes right. So I found an Amish guy that will remake them for about $400 a wheel, which is a pretty remarkable deal. So they'll be out in Pennsylvania, and it's because the Amish people still make, carriage wheels. So they'll be able to remake that for me. The metal part I'll have to replace as well, but the actual body of this car is amazingly solid. So I would imagine that this car was even handmade, where they'd run this in an English wheel and they'd make the stuff and roll it, and it probably wasn't stamped out in a die. It might have been. I don't know how they manufactured these cars, but a lot of this car was probably handmade. It was limited numbers, I'm sure. I love the doors. It's kind of funny. They still open. This door opens regular, and the other door opens suicide style, so the doors actually open in opposite directions. Probably because you couldn't open this up as suicide because the steering wheel would be right in your way, but it's just funny how the car is constructed or thought out. I have all the bows for the top. The top wooden parts are rotted out, but I have them for patterns. The upholstery is original from the car. It's still in there. I think it still has the horsehair or whatever they used to, stuff this thing. Pretty nasty, but it's cool that it's all there. I had the original mats out of it, which I'll try to recreate the best I can. What I'm thinking with this car, since it's a brass era car, I'm gonna paint it dark maroon. I don't even know what color it was because it's just rust now, but we're gonna paint it dark maroon. This thing's just bagging for pinstriping all through here, so I'll do a gold pinstripe, and I'm gonna go heavy on the brass. So I'm gonna have these lamps. Actually, these aren't lights; these are kerosene lamps. So you light them and you drive down the road because there is no battery in this car either. You have to crank it over. But I'm gonna go heavy with all the brass plating. So I'll brass plate the windshield, the steering column, the lights, the wheel caps, and then I'll have the dark maroon with the gold pinstriping. It'll look just awesome. Brass era car, like I said. This has a Renault kind of look to it because the designer of this car actually worked on Renaults before, designed Renaults, and when he came over here, he kind of translated what he had learned from whatever he was doing with them into the design of this car. So it definitely has like a European look to this car. take this hood off. It kind of blows me away that this engine is still intact. When I saw the car and I took the hood off of it and I saw the engine in here, I just was kind of blown away. You can see it's a little flathead. Here's your massive old spark plugs. These are little fuel cups, so you can fill these up with a little bit of gas. And since there's no battery to turn the car over, you have to come up here and you hand crank it when you're ready, and it will crank right over, and that extra fuel will help you out. And amazingly enough, this car is actually, the engine is free, so you can lock it in. That motor's turning over right now. So I'm gonna actually take it really easy with this, because if something does go wrong with the motor, there's no buying parts. I'll have to make parts, whether it's the castings or not. And that's just a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of money. So my goal with this is to get the wheels redone, get it back on some rubber. I'm gonna buy the white rubber tires just because I think that's gonna look great on the car. Get the car rolling. I'm gonna try to get the car running again, and then I'll go into restoration where it's disassembled and rebuilt. So I want to share this little 1914 Princess with you, and I'll keep you guys posted on any updates that I do with it. Thanks for watching.